Is a three-time Super Bowl champ. We occasionally get to borrow him from the NFL Network, and we love having him on. We only get this occasionally, although from my sources, we may get it more occasionally, and I'm not going to get into particulars, but you'll hear more about that in a couple of weeks. I really just dropped a secret.
You really did. You got some headlines right there. That'll be coming up next hour.
It's good for you.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's good for a lot of people.
I like good news.
Okay, so here's the thing, Willie. You're obviously a great player. So I take real exception. Because my dad was kind of a serious guy. He was a small-town doctor, and if you went to my dad in a small town, you needed something,
right,
and he couldn't be a goofball. I've always said this. When you walk on a plane, Willie, I don't want my pilot to have a tie-dye shirt on. I want him to have a uniform on. I don't love flying. That's 33,000 feet. My kids are on the plane. We could hit something. So I believe in I
we
like
can hit a bird.
So when Lane Johnson comes out and says,
right,
we have fun over here, they don't have any fun. My takeaway is winning is fun. Okay, so let's go to the New England you played for. Were there times where it wasn't fun enough?
I don't really understand when you mean fun enough. We had a great time, and I heard what Teddy said, and I have a bunch of teammates that I still talk to this day, and all we talk about is the fun times that we had while kicking everybody's you-know-what.
Right.
And, the thing is, there's a time to have a good time. There's a time to work. And when you work and everybody's accountable and everybody's on the same page, I just think you have fun while you do it. In meetings, outside of meetings, the camaraderie times when we came together outside of football and hung out after football games, was it always fun? No. It's not always fun because sometimes you can't just have fun. You got to go to work. You got to be serious. You got to be tuned in and dialed in. So I don't want to really understand. If you've never been in that locker room, you really can't talk on what is going on in that locker room.
Let me ask you, did you ever have, on your Patriot teams, we consider them stoic and serious. Was there a jokester in those teams?
A lot of people were jokesters. All of us, Teddy, myself, Rodney, Richard, Lawyer, everybody had fun. Everybody was jokes. And sometimes the joke, you didn't like it when the joke was on you, of course, but we had a good time, and everybody told their jokes and had their. Belichick used to, he was the ringleader when you didn't do something you were supposed to do. On the big screen, that joke was coming, and you just got to handle it. I'm confused by the whole statement by Lane.
I want to throw something out, though. In the afternoon, I co-host a show with my friend Jason Whitlock, and he said he believes this Malcolm Butler thing, and this is where I really need you, Willie, because I'm not in that locker room. But we have our own sort of locker room, our staff every day, Dave, our guest booker, and Greg. We have our staff, and it's very important to have certain unity and understanding and support.
True.
So when Malcolm Butler got benched, Jason Whitlock's theory is that it cost them the game, and that is not going to play well with players. So I want to play the bite of Jason Whitlock. Let's play it here.
Okay.
Because of this Malcolm Butler situation, you're going to see more and more players comfortable expressing how they really feel about the Patriots and the Bill Belichick way. This decision here with Malcolm Butler appears to be just ego run amok. Players now feel comfortable saying, man, Belichick's out of control.
The star in New England's locker room is Brady,
who doesn't like this decision.
But he's not going to let this thing seep all through the locker room.
He has always stood on the decisions I make are about winning. Now when he stands on that, the 53 guys in that locker room go, no, you don't. Not all the time.
Does he have a point?
Well, first of all, I don't want to discredit what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl by saying it's because of one player not playing that's the reason why they won. They earned that in a lot of different phases of the game if you watched it. And they went out and they dominated. And they were the better team that day. So they deserve all the credit in the world. Now, going forward, there's certain situations that happen during the week of practice or preparation that Belichick has a job to say, who's going to give us the best opportunity to win? We've heard this time and time again in that locker room, in meeting rooms, and so forth. I don't know the Butler situation. I know he wasn't feeling well. I know he was late coming out there. Not sure on his week of practice, not sure of his recovery or what happened before the game or what was said to him before the game. You saw him very emotional, I think, during the national anthem.
Yes.
And maybe he had just found out the news. And a lot of times it's not that late when you find out you're probably not going to play in the football game. So I don't know what transpired, but I do know that the head coach is never going to sabotage a team by sitting one of their players to say, I'm going to do this because I think it gives us less opportunities to win this football game, or I'm going to try to sabotage the team and I'm going to get back at Malcolm Butler. The team is always first. I've been in that locker room. I know the message. I've been around it, and I understand it. Now, I didn't know he wasn't playing, but I'm not in those meeting rooms. I don't get a memo. I don't get a call sheet of who's going to start, who's going to do what.
You get it before the game.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, for me, I'm not in that locker room right now. So those decisions are based on that week and leading up to that week and what transpired. I have no idea what took place.
So we were talking about this. I told my staff this morning, I said, people are freaking out about the Jimmy Garoppolo contract.
Right.
And so let's personalize this to you and I. We are now broadcasters.
Okay.
My belief, everybody listening to the show, there are 4 things that determine your salary at the NFL Network and my salary here, Carissa's salary, Greg's salary, Dave's salary, and Goulet works for free. But the point is there are 4 key components that basically decide everybody's salary in America. Number 1 being talent. Whatever job you do, school teacher, landscaper, are you really good? Number 2 is replaceability. On the screen here. Yep. Are you replaceable? If Willie McGinnis leaves, can we get a guy who has that kind of knowledge and the ability to tell good stories and was a great player? Years left. Should we build around Willie? I mean, Willie's been on the air 30 years. He's got grandkid. Years left. Yep. And the 4th thing, how important is Willie to the NFL Network or the herd to this network? So talent, replaceability, years left. So I said to the staff this morning, I said, if you gave me every quarterback in the NFL, and you told me, based on that, what would I pay him? Here's the order I would give it. And you're going to think I'm crazy. Aaron Rodgers, remember, you can't get free agents there. He is virtually irreplaceable. Russell Wilson is with an old defense, a defensive head coach, and a bad O-line. He makes them viable. I'm not saying he's the second best quarterback. So you're going to think I'm crazy. I put Jimmy Garoppolo 3rd. That John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan signed simultaneous 6-year deals.
They did.
The entire franchise now is based on Jimmy Garoppolo. I love Andrew Luck, but I can't depend on him physically. I love Carson Wentz, but they won a Super Bowl without him. I love Brady, Big Ben, and Breeze, but they are older.
Right.
I look at Garoppolo, and I'm like, he is the centerpiece to 12 years of simultaneous contracts. Am I nuts? I'd pay him $30 million.
I would move some of the guys at the bottom up a little bit higher because it's consistency. And I know the list was a little shorter, but it's consistency, availability is on that list, right?
Okay.
And performance, right? You got to put a product out on the football field.
Right.
So when you go on sample size, Jimmy G's only won, right, and started 7-0 in 3.5 years. In 3.5 years, he's been in the league. Now, there's something to say about a player who sat in a system behind a great head coach, the best quarterback ever, and probably one of the best offensive coordinators ever, and a system that consistently wins. He has 2 Super Bowls. So for him to sit in that system, soak up all that knowledge, and then go out and perform at a certain level says a lot. And a lot of these contracts are won based on potential because Andrew Luck, being the first pick coming out of the draft, and what he's done was based off of his skill set and potential, correct?
Sure, yes.
Has he delivered? Probably not yet. Probably not yet because he hasn't been available. He's been injured, and we haven't seen him win a Super Bowl or win on a consistent basis, so based off of potential. So I would say the market value for players in that position dictates what they're going to get paid, regardless pretty much on production, regardless pretty much on consistency, regardless pretty much on the product that's been out on the field on a consistent basis.
It's about how bad do they need you?
Right.
What is your potential?
Right. There's a shortage of great quarterbacks in our league. And I will say Jimmy G has the skill set. But what adds way more value is what he's learned in the last 3.5 years, what he's able to digest as a quarterback, his ability to go out and diagnose a defense, break things down, put guys in position, situational football, all those things that factor in.
Based on the best defensive coach of our life, Belichick,
right?
And the hottest offensive guy in Shanahan.
And being behind Brady and learning those things. You can't just come in the league and know those things. He learned those things. And you add that with the talent he already possessed.
So you're saying basically you can't duplicate Garoppolo in this league. Well, if you look at who he's learned from.
Well, Aaron Rodgers. He duplicated Aaron Rodgers. Didn't he sit behind Brett for 3 years?
Yeah.
Right? And he's sitting in a great system behind McCarthy, and the head coach, and he learned so much, and he was already a talented guy. When you put all those things together, and then it's his time, we see Aaron Rodgers. I think we kind of see the same in Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think it's a small sample size. And you say, well, he's the highest paid player in NFL history. Well, that's what the market dictates.
There's a scarcity of his position.
And I think he is the guy that says, look, I want to go out and prove to you guys that I'm worth this contract. This is what I've done so far is nothing compared to what I want to go out and do. He's a confident young man. He is very, very talented. But I know he is a guy who wants to go out and prove it. And he's got the opportunity.
Yeah,
he gave us a small glimpse, but I think he has a lot left.
Yeah, I do too. By the way, if you go look at the Niners last year without him and the Niners with him, they were like different football teams. I think your point's a really good one, that not only is he talented and handsome and he can move and he's won.
Why'd you point at her when you said that?
Because we had a whole conversation yesterday that Colin has this theory that the better looking you are as a quarterback, the better you're going to play.
It's called NFL face. An NFL GM told me, and I got on this about 10 years ago when I first met Carissa. I said, the theory in the NFL is when you're looking at quarterbacks, if a kid is uniquely handsome, that he was handsome in the 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th, more girls paid attention to him. Boys thought he was cool. He was a popular kid. And when times in the NFL are rough, and they are for every quarterback, he'll have the self-confidence to overcome crisis. It's called NFL face.
Okay.
It's a thing, apparently, Willie.
It's a big thing.
Wait, what I found more interesting, though, do you want to share your revelation, not your revelation, your declaration you made yesterday about this 49ers team with Willie?
Dark horse team to get to the Super Bowl, and I truly believe it.
When? How many years?
Next year.
Next year.
No, they need more pieces. I would say they need more. They got an important piece with him and locking him in, but they need more pieces.
Willie, it's good seeing you.
Thanks for having
me. Willie McGinnis. Coming up next, Isaiah Thomas. He doesn't understand what George Hill does as a teammate of LeBron. Next.
It's Big Game Saturday on Fox. Michigan State, Northwest.